There's that shadow that you see right there in front of you. Then you look back, but there's absolutely no one there at all. There's that rustle that unnerves the anxious, but has no source. And then there's that low murmur, which you could absolutely swear is a mocking laugh, but the simple truth is that no one is actually laughing at all. There's the fear of the unknown. There's the apprehension. There's that sense of dramatic irony that arises when you are absolutely certain that danger is lurking just beyond that firmly closed door. However, your voice simply will not reach and will never, ever reach the foolish person who is about to open that door. Then there's the fear of being completely alone, which I believe is truly the most terrifying form of fear. I wonder why they don't just put "not for those under 16 years of age" on any of the movie posters that actually deal with the profound fear of true solitude. I am that old foolish man, Rifa'at Ismail, who is attempting to outwit death, to be more precise about it. I'm evading thoughts of death, specifically by sharing some entertaining stories with you. Stories are often draped in horror, sometimes embracing it, sometimes definitely shying away. They frequently wear the cloak of supernatural phenomena or the garb of the bizarre sometimes. However, these are quite cunning and tricky stories that will try by any means necessary to draw attention to themselves. And in order to achieve that, they are willing to do absolutely anything. So, what are we talking about today? Have I told you the story about the cemetery? What? I haven't quite finished it yet. That feels rather strange. I was certain I had completed it. But I'm going to ask you a favor. I've been prepared to tell the tale of the land of the lizards for many years now, and I'm not particularly eager for the land of the lizards. The story is written in Brother Salem's handwriting, and it won't require a great deal of effort from my part, merely reading aloud and then correcting some of the peculiar grammatical errors he seems to make with such strange precision, as if they were the actual rules themselves. So, is that agreed? I will yield the floor to Salem and Salma for the time being, and with any luck, we shall meet again next time to conclude the tale of the cemetery. Why am I doing this? It's because you've grown accustomed to Rifa'at Ismail's rather peculiar quirks, and are well aware that he simply never does anything in the manner that other more conventional, well-mannered gentlemen do. He starts at the very end, takes a break in the middle, goes out through the windows, and breathes the air in through the doors. So, let's listen to Salem and Salma then. You know us well. I am Salem, and she is Salma. We are the living, breathing proof of the existence of what are known as parallel worlds, a proof that, unfortunately, cannot be easily dismissed. She is Salma, and I am Salem. Even though we are a married couple, we frequently feel that we are the very exact same person, and this causes us a great deal of confusion and frustration. This is the eternal question posed by philosophers. Is it better for traits to be similar or to be complementary? How could you possibly walk if both of your feet were right ones? If both eyes saw the exact same thing, you would definitely lose the ability to perceive depth. We roam worlds that are almost like Earth, with slight differences. Once, we were in a world that hadn't yet discovered hieroglyphics. Another time, we were in a world where cats never existed. Our adventures are absolutely real, I can assure you of that. However, the writers on Earth do create a type of literature that is quite similar to what we ourselves experience, and they refer to it as alternative history. Indeed, they might refer to it by various names, such as counterfactual fiction, hypothetical what-if narratives, or even uchronias. Anyway, I won't keep you here for too long. Terminology is the very thing that makes water impossible to drink or even comprehend. Well, my wife and I are visitors here, and you might recognize us from the tales of Another Earth and the land of the Mongols. So, perhaps we ought to reintroduce ourselves right now, here in the land of the lizards? No more details, and I won't waste 4 whole pages summarizing the preceding 2 stories, just like Rifayat Ismail does. He seems to possess an abundance of time and words, whereas we consistently experience a severe and ongoing lack of those very things. So, are we ready to commence? Let's begin. I really do not understand why it is that every single new adventure of ours begins with us being in the very worst possible shape. It was the year 250 G77. This is indeed the specific place and moment in time that the device has transported us to. If I were to judge by the event, this planet is delightful. I'm really into planets that start with the number 250, as you know. My heel felt like it was about to kill me. Those who heard the previous adventure are aware that I took a bullet in it, and I'm still quite uncertain whether it has exited or not yet. My hands are completely soaked in frozen blood. I genuinely don't know if it's mine or from the bodies I've been looting, just like a printer would. Plus, my hands are literally frozen from the ice. Salma isn't really any better off. Although she's not injured, she feels the same kind of pain in her heel. We were lying on the ground amidst the sand. The weather is really hot, but we didn't complain about that. She told me, as she was touching her head, "Oh dear, I really don't know anything at all about this strange world or what we might possibly encounter." But surely the very first experience we're going to go through is getting arrested for vagrancy. See that view? It doesn't inspire trust. In my land, it's a suspicion report, my specialty. Salem. I think we're in the Arabian region. This is an Arabian desert. I bet you're right. The desert is the desert everywhere. It has no specific name. I stooped and assisted him in rising. I comforted myself with a little cluck. And it occurred to me that I was confidently walking towards the inevitable verdant end, the pollution, the gangrene, my leg from below the knee. There must be a solution. I added, I own the horizon where the mountains surround us from all sides. There's another problem. We don't know the way back home, and we don't know where the people are. I think you should try another set of numbers. But this adventure, I can't find it. We don't even know how to reach it at all. We need the right directions to guide us to this place of adventures. Salma, please don't bother me. At least there are no pressure factors around us. We are brave and in control of the situation. Why don't you come down instead of giving up on everything before even starting? And this was the truly unique aspect of our entire experience. I really do like places that have a back emergency exit available. The very moment things start to go wrong, you just grab the device and click, click. All problems come to an end in just a second, and then you start all over again. I've always wished, throughout all the difficult times and turns in my life before I met Salma, that I had that back door. However, there's just one single issue that I'm facing, and that is that I don't have any idea whatsoever what my actual life truly is, or what my genuine problems are. You need a fulcrum to stand on and test the possibilities. But I am truly beginning to lose that crucial point of support. Archimedes himself famously declared, "Provide me with a point of support situated beyond the confines of this earth, and I shall devise mechanical levers capable of shifting the entire world." Yet, even a mind as brilliant as Archimedes never actually located such a fulcrum. We kept walking. I'm quite predictable in how I feel. The moment I see the desert, I immediately feel incredibly thirsty. Just like that, without allowing my cells the opportunity to absorb the dryness, it appeared quite terrifying to me. You're thirsty, a lump in your throat. You know my feelings are the same, but things haven't reached that point yet. Oh my God, just 15 minutes ago I was sipping cold water in the snow. And now I'm dying of thirst in the desert. We were walking through the hot, soft sand. There's not a single spot of shade anywhere. It must be hiding somewhere under our feet. My saliva is thick and sticky. The hot air escapes from my nose as if it were emanating from a blazing oven. Perhaps scorpions or some other kind of creature, those truly horrifying things whose true nature you cannot really identify, are moving around us. Suddenly, a roaring sound came from afar. I wet my lower lip with a dry tongue and whispered, "Chopper sound." But where? The roaring sound seemed to be coming from every direction. Then things slowly started to improve. It's coming from the west. Finally, we spotted the helicopter coming from the horizon, crawling towards us with determination and caution. For some reason, I didn't like this helicopter. Salma jumped into the air, waving her hand. "Ha, ha! We're right here! We're right here! Be quiet, you fool! And how would you know if they're angels anyway? Angels don't fly helicopters!" We looked up toward the sky. My words were entirely pointless. The sky is not a sense that this pilot truly requires. We are completely and totally visible to them. If this pilot doesn't see us, he's the first blind pilot in history. Now the helicopter is right above us. What truly astonished me was that it did not unleash a barrage of gunfire. It certainly didn't drop a bomb on us. It didn't even lower a rope ladder for us. It performed no actions whatsoever. It simply remained hovering above us, just a few meters off the ground. And I was able to observe someone looking out from its doorway, and they were holding a camera. After a short while, I came to realize it was two men observing us very closely, and each of them was holding a camera. EFF. When did I actually see these letters, and how? I truly don't know. Subsequently, I discovered their origin. They were indeed inscribed upon the helicopter itself. However, I simply lacked sufficient time to discern them precisely. Consequently, they permeated into my subconscious mind. This phenomenon is quite well known. Any expert in media psychology is fully aware of this fact. Despite myself, I smiled, trying to look good. I imagined how I looked from above, with the dumbest expression possible. Why aren't they offering us any assistance? Why don't they just put an end to our suffering? Why are they remaining completely silent? Salma stated, looking upwards, attempting to avoid the bright sunlight. The sun, lurking behind the aircraft, occasionally exposes its fiery fangs to scorch our eyes with 1,000 searing blades. Salem, it appears you are indeed correct. I am always right, you see, without fail. But why is there a third individual over there aiming a rifle directly at us? Suddenly the shot loudly rang out. I didn't know what happened. I thought it missed its way. However, I glanced back at Salma and observed her on her knees, her hand extending toward an object on her shoulder. She was visibly swaying. I then cried out as if I were in deep lament. "Salma, hey you dogs!" And I reached out to her. I clearly saw that strange object deeply lodged in her shoulder. There was absolutely no blood visible. There was something resembling a soft white feather protruding from her clothing. Initially, I couldn't comprehend it. Then, with a sudden jolt, I vividly recalled the peculiar and unsettling strikes of that strange enchantment. However, she was swaying, her eyes completely shut. Then she collapsed, face first, into the deep sand. I gazed skyward, clenched my fist tightly, and then unleashed a torrent of angry curses. However, upon inspecting my knee, I discovered that feathered arrow was deeply embedded in my flesh, holding fast. Oh no, they've hit me. I have no idea when or how it happened. The darkness begins at the very center of one's vision and then expands like an ink blot. I hear the sound of the airplane rising, cutting through the air violently with its propellers. ISF. ISF. I am fully aware that it is now descending, and I know. Right before my very eyes, this marked the very first time I had ever laid eyes on Dr. Starsky. I attempted to move my arm, but I was completely unable to. The obvious reason for this is that I am securely strapped to my seat using leather restraints. The location was a really strange mix of a laboratory, a lecture hall, a kitchen, and the deputy minister's office. The individual who was looking into my eyes using a small flashlight was indeed Dr. Starsky. I would later come to discover this fact. He was grasping a clipboard, the specific kind that secures papers firmly with a metallic clip. Beside him stood 3 individuals, all dressed in coats, and each one was holding something quite similar. "We're here." He surveyed his surroundings, and with a confident tone, he declared, "This is precisely what I had informed you about earlier." He was speaking in a language that I did not believe to be Arabic. I completely forgot to mention that he was speaking in English. I am not an expert on different dialects, but I believe it was American English, just as they speak it in the movies. It's as if every American sounds nasally until they prove otherwise. I wasn't particularly fluent in the English language. However, I had received an extensive amount of training from the preceding narrative, and as a result, I had become quite proficient in that particular skill.